Here we go.
Well,
Nerv.
good evening.
Good evening.
So
Maybe I feel I don't have to be here since you guys all know about me, and sounds like you're writing some books about me even.
Well, this is based on
You
experience from your videos. I mean, we don't want to have an
Oh.
argument with you that's too intense, but we
Yeah.
also not block you away from your questions and
No, I appreciate that. You can hang up on me anytime. You've got the power over there. But I can tell you that I know that I'm abrasive, and I've admitted that several times. I'm a pretty abrasive person, but there's one reason, and I'd really like to answer you guys. I think you deserve an answer as to why I'm so aggressive and abrasive on the internet. It's because you guys might be nice people. TIs might be nice people. This stuff they might be really experiencing. But the way they talk is more arrogant than I talk. Do you know what I mean? I'm saying that you guys just instantly know the answer. There's no other question. There's no other explanation for your experiences. You're being gangstalk, and that's that. You guys are more arrogant than I am. I could never be that arrogant. I question myself all the time.
I don't believe in gang stalking. I never have, and I'm not a targeted individual. I never have been targeted.
Okay.
Right. So I don't believe in gang stalking. I don't believe in being targeted. I believe in a spiritual ascension process and the great tribulations and quantum physics, quantum mechanics, quantum leaping.
Yeah. Peace, love, and end times. I wanted to say one quick thing to her, and then I'll let you talk, Seventh. Peace, love, and I saw that little underhanded jab you gave me about being a gamer. That's not the primary thing I do. I mean, I'm just a guy on a planet like you guys. I'm just like an average person, but I'm a big fan of education, and I don't believe the best information just drops right on our laps. I believe we have to go seek it.
No, it doesn't. That's right. Yeah.
Right. So I spent a lot of my youth educating myself because I grew up a pretty credulous person. I used to believe in God. I used to use Ouija boards thinking I could talk to the dead. I used to believe in UFO crop circles. And then I reached the age of reason and I started reading books and informing myself. And that's where I am today. And now I'm really pro-science, living in reality. You could say I'm obsessed with reality, as Carl Sagan said.
Great. So then you understand everything there is to know about quantum physics and the spiritual ascension process.
I could download some research
you
published journals.
You could watch a movie, but you don't have the book at your house, do you?
No, I wouldn't watch a movie. I would start with published journals, which is the best.
You don't have a book from a doctor at your house, do you, on quantum physics?
Yeah, I could. I can download it right now.
No, I'm saying you don't have a physical copy that you read every single day, do you?
Not every day, no, but you can download them all.
You don't know you don't know everything there is to know.
No,
about
I never claim it. I'm a pretty dumb chimp.
And technology, you don't know everything.
I'm a pretty dumb chimp, actually. Like the more you learn, the dumber you feel.
Yeah, true.
You know, if I could just share briefly, I prefer that this not devolve into some mudslinging interaction. And then I do take exception to the way you entered the chat and addressed, I hope not me, in saying, one, that we've interacted before, because I don't believe we have, and two, that I'm arrogant and know everything. In fact, I come from a position of humility in this process. And rather than say it is what it is, I do not know what it is, but I can say it ain't what it ain't. And it isn't something that's dealing with the same laws of time and space that I'm dealing with, the same constraints.
All right. So you're a TI. So Golden Bear's a TI?
That's the closest thing I found to lining up with it, is this TI phenomenon.
Hey, Nerv.
What's up, Seven? We've never talked before.
I want to tell you, hey, I appreciate you coming in here, being all nice and calm. So I like that. And I just want to say, okay, so you and I, we're gonna have an interview. It'll be coming up, okay, just one-on-one.
Sure.
But for now, I'm glad you came in here nice and calm, and not all TIs are the same. And
no, I know.
I totally get you. I agree with you on some TIs are just too extreme. The stuff they say are kind of extreme, and I totally agree with you on that. But then there are also TIs that are just more. They're not as, those type of TI.
Yeah, like you, I have to give you credit, and I don't give a lot of people credit, but you really impressed me when you went out in the crowd like that. I mean, you were doing things I wouldn't even do. And I'm not a TI, and I'm not a big fan of crowds in general. So seeing you get right up into the grill of other people, my wig came off my head and ran away.
Are you talking about his video in San Francisco, California?
Yeah, it was awesome. I thought it was great.
Okay.
I don't think, yeah.
I could share with you real, irrefutable video evidence of my experience in public, and you tell me that it's coincidence when it happens through multiple cities, through multiple states. Right.
Well, let me tell you something. I don't know if you guys know this, and this is one of the reasons I wanted to come on here, is I don't know if you guys understand that you're being studied. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yes,
okay.
We are.
So actual science, not Fox News, not CNN, not just some amateurs down the street. Real researchers are actually studying gang stalking now. And there's been the first paper. I downloaded all the papers. I have all the papers right on my hard drive, and I was going through them and I was highlighting things. And I found that the first actual published paper, peer-reviewed published scientific paper on gang stalking came out in 2015. And since then, there's been about 7 papers. And each one is detrimental to your case. They all say that you have persecutory delusions. None of them point. None of, and see, scientists actually want to get to the truth of how things work and how the universe works.
Okay, so you know what? Everyone understands what a peer-reviewed journal is, right?
Yeah, right.
Because that's what he's talking about. He's not talking about somebody that wrote a book. He's talking about peer-reviewed articles. I went to college for 10 years. I have several degrees. I know what this is, and it's low-level shit. It's not a book.
What's higher than that?
I'm peer-reviewed journals. I could pull them out of my ass.
Okay, what's higher than that though?
Video. You could just take a look at my video.
No, they're not higher than that.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, they're not.
I'm saying that your journal.
What? Wait a minute. You went to school and you're saying something is higher than that? Information is higher.
Stop. You need 3 peer-reviewed. I know what a peer-reviewed journal is. I wanted everyone else to know what it is as well. Does everybody understand what that is and what that means? And he's basing all of his shit on it.
No, I'm basing it on a lot of other things. But...
Yes, be aware of what a peer-reviewed is and who writes them and how they're written. Go watch a video on how they get submitted and what, what they do to get to that point. Because these people might not know that they're...
Yeah. That's fine. But if you guys know what E equals MC squared is, that was in a peer-reviewed journal, just like I'm talking about.
Let me just
I can write a peer-reviewed. You have no idea what...
I know. I'm not saying it's all objective facts, but I'm saying about 7 papers... See, she just doesn't want to hear it. She just doesn't want to hear it.
I want Golden Bear to understand.
I mean, I'm less aggressive than this person is.
I want End Times to understand what a peer-reviewed journal is. Not everyone knows what that is.
It's the height of our knowledge as humans on this planet.
No, there's more.
Yes, it is.
Beyond that.
Where do you think all the articles come out? Like, we just found a cure for cancer, blah, blah, blah. It comes from those journals, lady.
And how many journals are there on one subject?
I'm just saying, I'm not saying it's objective. I'm saying so far, all the data points to persecutory delusions, schizophrenia, all of them.
Oh, that's not correct.
Yes, I can show you I can send them to you right now. I know you guys don't read.
You guys just stop. Okay,
because look, these people.
See, we got science haters here.
It's not science.
No,
yes, it is.
It's the principality.
All right, hey, watch this. You guys want to see something? Hey, developer, name one journal.
She doesn't need to name
she can't do it. So she knows all about it, but can't name one.
Journals. I know
you can't name one. You can't even name one.
Why would I?
Because you don't know. You couldn't find it with both hands and a flashlight in a closet. You're lying. You're feigning intelligence right now in front of an audience.
Guys, hey, all of you just stop.
See, I hate fact deniers. That's one thing that tightens my jaws, and when people defy science.
Common sense. Developer, hold on a moment, if you like, and I'll add some.
Can't name a single journal. Yeah, go ahead.
I don't memorize.
I'll add some information.
Big shocker.
I can get in its way.
Why would you?
Developer. Just hold on. Hold your breath.
It's all right.
Hold your breath.
Retard land.
Smile when you say that to me.
Yeah.
Hold your breath.
Are you smiling?
Okay,
right. I got a peer-reviewed journal.
I got your peer-reviewed swinging.
You know how many peer-reviewed journals there is on demonic possession?
She just defies science. She has no idea how we figured out the Earth was round. No idea at all.
How many peer-reviewed journals are
So
there?
we experiment. Okay, forget about peer-reviewed. Forget about peer-reviewed.
How many
Experiments.
peer-reviewed journals are there on demonic possession? How many?
Educate yourself, daughter.
No,
There's
how
so,
many?
there,
How many, Nerv? How many? Name them off
she's
the
so,
top of
listen to
your
this
head.
lady. She's just
Name
making
them off
noises
the top
now.
of your head. Yeah, name them off the top of your head. All the demonic possession.
I never
peer-reviewed
said it
journals.
was 100%.
That's what I thought.
All right, I'm sorry to mute all of you, but it's getting a little too extreme here. Listen, everyone calm down, take a moment, take a step back, let's relax, okay? I don't want to mute you guys, but let's just relax. It's hard to get our points across when we're just talking over each other, so we're going to have to just keep those frustration inside and disagreement, feeling inside, and just let's go one at a time, okay? So I'm going to unmute all of you, and I just want to say something, okay, that with what Nerv said about we're being studied, okay? And I agree with him, okay? I know we are being studied. And I want to share a story today. So I was talking to this person on Reddit, and this person was asking me questions, and I was, answering them and trying to help this person. And all of a sudden, this person told me, oh, he is the Indian Gangstalker, Indian Gangstalking, the YouTube user. He was in one of my live stream in the last live stream. And then, I was like, oh, okay, cool, just talking to him. And then today he made a comment, I need to create a YouTube account so I can follow your content. And after that last comment, the account was deleted. So to me, that just tells me this person was trying to extract information and was pretending to be a different person. And once they made a mistake of telling me, oh, God, he's got to make a YouTube account to follow my content, he deleted his account. So to me, and then what you said, Nerv, that just kind of connected the thought for me that, yeah, I agree with you. We are being studied.
Well, I've also seen a lot of weird things too. I had Alana, I think her name is, a TI. She said she added me. And so I looked on Discord. I thought she was going to call me because we were talking about it. She said, I added you. I checked Facebook. She didn't add me, not Discord. And she said, oh, I added you on Facebook. Or I mean, YouTube. And I never heard anybody say that before. Added me on YouTube. She was trying, like, a lot of people don't know what they're talking about. So you could chalk it up to that. It's a potential. It's what I'm just saying is that some people don't understand technology or the internet. So they say phrases and words that they don't know the meanings of.
Okay. And now back to the peer review paper.
Right.
I believe those are good for, to share with people, let people know what's going on.
I want to know how many peer-reviewed journals there are on demonic possession.
And I was going to
listen, I can look it up. I can answer her question. I can look it up and get peer-reviewed stuff right now. The thing is that these journals, they're not emotional like you and I are being right now. Did you hear what I thought? Did you hear what I said? You're being really emotional right now.
Right,
and science is not emotional.
That's right.
It's objective.
I have a spiritual purpose. You don't understand that.
I know, I can tell. But science is not personal. It's objective.
It's a
so
paper.
It's trying to get the answer.
I'm going to go write one right now.
Okay, so
can anybody hear me?
I can hear you.
I understand developer that.
If you don't mind me adding a point of view here.
Sure.
I don't know if you could hear that earlier between developer, what she's saying. The history, if you're talking about education, I'll just go back on that point. If you have to educate yourself in the knowledge of the books and the peer reviews and so forth of the evidence that you've been studying for so long, good luck to you, on that. And you're very much into physics and science, etc. Well, my older son is. And so therefore, I just wondered if you looked into the history and how these universities, education establishments have been funded, have been infiltrated. And if you ever come across the subject of the Rand Foundation, the Rockefellers, these history of the bloodline families, who are infiltrated into a lot of these universities, education establishments, not just in America, not just England. And also, have you obviously studied the fraternities, the Freemasonry, the Illuminati? The facts are out there. And when you look at why for example, you say there is the psychological studies, because of the history into examination of human brain back in the 1800s and why they began that, and the advancement of technology here we are today. You're into science, well, there's cloning, the cloning of the sheep, the technology, AI, and look at the advancement where we are.
Well, you're jumping
now.
around. Can I answer your first question?
Sure.
Yeah. I obviously I'm not ignorant to the fallibility of humans and the corruption potentiality that we can have whenever we do anything. But the thing about science is that it tries to find the answer to things. There is no objection in these papers that I looked at, in all references I looked at, there's no objection to single stalking. You know what that is? There's two versions of stalking so far in the literature.
His conversation on a paper we didn't read. Noted.
I'll send it to you.
We don't care. We don't care about your paper. Take it and wipe my fucking ass with it.
You know, lady, I really think that you think you better watch your festering corrosive, sewer under that nose of yours when you couldn't find it.
The big difference
you're just being she's just being vituperative. She's just spewing crap out of that festering hole of hers. Like, developer, can you articulate a thought, an idea without having to make noises at the same time?
The point is there's definitions, these words and definitions and meanings.
Right.
So the interpretation of like targeted individual is a term that a collective of individuals in their own right would use to express what they're going through. So that's just an assumption of a word. Then you've got the gang stalking or organized stalking. I would suggest that's more appropriate because it involves several entities, several people that has been paid by whatever organization to unlawfully, to especially in England, to imply that individuals falsify their documents in the computerization, far-fetched as MI5, MI6, or led to something that somebody hasn't done. So when one goes to do a SARS requirement to subject access for the personal data, and you find there's falsified records on their personal medical, healthcare, whatever subject may be, they will find that that is absolutely a false and misinformation, and that will create the discreditation of that individual and subjected to this intrusion into their personal life. So it goes into the community stalking, into denial of services, whatever it may be, in hacking into computerization, whether it's your phones or computers or whatever. And then you'll find then the isolation comes in, where they try to lie to your family members or your friends, and the psychological campaign for that.
Okay, well, hold on. Let me just explain. I'm sorry to cut you off. I just want to explain a couple things about these papers, because they acknowledge that individual stalking is a real thing. And I think paper. Listen to this lady. She's a fact denier, dude. Hey, developer, you need a checkup from the neck up. Wow. Look, dude, I'm not even that egregious. I'm willing to talk to people. I don't talk at people. I want to talk to them. You see the difference? Hey, developer, you got to learn to talk to people. Remember? Yeah. I mean, I can get down and dirty just as the best of them. In fact, I think I'd give you a run for your money, lady. So I want to talk.
Run back to your paper. We don't know anything.
Run back to your vertical videos. Run back to your 720p vertical videos at 30 frames per second with 100 bit rate.
All right, let's just stop, guys. I'm gonna have to stop this. So
I just let me want to say one thing to Peace, Love, and End Times, because I think she deserves an answer to the question she asked me. Individual stalking is a real thing. I don't think there's anybody on the planet that really denies that. Because if you have a boyfriend who you dump, he might start harassing you, sending you texts, sending you calls, sending crap to your house. That's a real thing. It has to do a lot with jealous men that don't like to be rejected. It's a real thing. That's individual stalking. But in all of these group stalking studies, they all found that all individuals that they interviewed that are claimed to being group stalked or gang stalked, none of them can ever point to anybody in particular. They can't. They all have different. They all have different answers as to why they're being stalked. There's no consensus. But there's no consensus though. There's no consensus is what I'm saying. They're all different answers, so they can't pinpoint anything.
Nerv, I understand what you're saying, Nerv, and that's why you and I, we should have an interview.
Yeah.
Well, he doesn't believe in good versus evil.
Well, you would think that there'd be a consensus of some time. Yep, this is it. But they're all different.
Good versus evil.
They are.
There you
well,
go.
Hey, developer, are you a Christian developer?
Good versus evil. I don't.
Hold on, is developer a Christian or what are you, Catholic?
I don't need to be. No.
Well, because you want to talk about religion, we can talk about religion. I happen to know a lot about it.
Just good versus evil, that's all.
Okay, well, speaking of verses, why don't you open up your 2 Kings chapter 2, verse 22 and 23 in the Old Testament? See what it says. Did you ever pick it up?
Let's not talk about that right now.
Developer never met anybody who has two separate eyebrows before.
Well, Nerv, I think. Okay, you don't have to say that.
I know. I'm sorry. Like people like this tighten my jaws because they don't want to have a conversation. They just like being right. They plug the ears and go la la la. I'm here to talk.
Why do we have to suck the paper?
It's fine, developer. That's fine. You don't like books? They're rectangle objects with pages and words. It's fine if you don't like them. You can watch YouTube videos in vertical.
Hey, hold on. 7th and Nerv, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Sorry, Nerv, I have to mute you real quick. Sorry.
Maybe at some point, Nerf and I, and perhaps the three of us, could have a discussion, a nice, cordial discussion, and I think there'd be some fruit to that. So the challenge stands there, and hopefully the mudslinging stays behind, and at some point we can have a dialogue that at least reveals some truth and exposes each other to our different perspectives in a bit better fashion than what's being, displayed here.
And I want to say about, defending developer. She knows a lot of stuff when it comes to the spirits, and her personality is she kind of very just straight to the point, and not everyone can understand the information she shared. And I would still want her to be black, for my future live stream. I don't want her to feel like we're bullying her or anything or picking at her. So and I just want Nerv to also know that don't be too harsh on her, and I'm sure one day. So I'm gonna unmute you.
Jeez. Hello.
Yeah. No, I just want you guys to I just don't want you guys to have these like heated debate. It just doesn't argument just doesn't get anywhere,
No, I know. I don't like that. I mean, that's the only reason I yell in my videos is because a lot of people are so gutless. They're not willing to actually defend the things they type. They're willing to type you book after book after book, and they're willing to make thousands of videos, but they're not really willing to stand up to kind of scrutiny. I think scrutiny is healthy for society.
It is healthy.
I see what you're saying, and I understand your cause here. You try to straighten the point, make sure it's mostly facts and truth. I understand your cause, and that's good. We need people like you, but at the same time, we also need people like developer, because she actually knows a lot of information that other people don't.
I'm not discrediting her. I mean, I'm sure she does. That's why I talk to anybody. You can learn things from anybody. It doesn't matter, even if they suffered a head injury and they're barely able to talk, they still have things to teach.
That's right. I agree with that point.
And also, from my experience, the best way to go about talking to anyone who doesn't agree with you is gotta stay calm about it, because
I totally agree with you.
Overly sensitive. I mean, you can still prove your point by not being too I guess in a way kind of aggressive. You can still prove your point, but just not so aggressive.
Well, I give you a lot of credit, 7th. You're a pretty patient person, and you're a pretty egalitarian person. You're a better man than me, I can tell you that. I mean, I do understand being diplomatic with people, but I do lose my patience, and that's a character flaw on my own. I lose my patience pretty quickly, and I can get insulting pretty quick, and I try not to do that. Again, I understand people are people. They don't mean bad things generally. What's that?
That's your pride. You got strong pride, and so does developer, and that's why both of you clash each other. So, but I'm sure if you take your time and she takes her time, both of you can actually have a very good conversation.
Yeah, well, Mo Muss in chat is saying that they'd like to talk to me. They're real TI. I've heard that from about 8 people so far. That no, I'm the real TI. These other guys don't know what they're talking about, and I've talked to them. They're on my channel actually. I talked to Absent-Minded Abe. I talked to the real Targeted Individual guy. I even talked to Burger Boy, and he's not even a TI. But I talked to all sorts of people.
No, he's not.
No, I know. But I have the recording on my channel, so people are wondering who he is. They were saying I was him. And I'm a friend of his or something, but I'm not at all. You could just tell by their conversation.
I know who he is.
He didn't know I was recording, and I don't mean to do that to people, but I'm a big fan of transparency and openness.
Yes.
I don't have a lot of secrecy, but I also don't encourage people to put their faces and personal information on the internet, because I've been on the internet since 1995. 1995. Right. I've been here a long time. Before cell phones, I was here. Before Windows 95, I was here. Okay? I was here a long time ago. Huh?
Are you very good at crypto, digital currency?
No, I don't like bit, or what is that? Cryptocurrency, you mean?
Yeah.
No, I'm not into that. I'm into security. Okay. I'm into being encryption. You can actually speak with encryption in voice chat and video and text on the internet. It's great. Right. Yeah. So I try to teach people how to block ads. I teach people how to save money, not freaking pay for stupid apps on their phone. I feel bad for people who are just throwing all their money away. They're paying for YouTube Premium when they could just be using uBlock Origin. They don't need to be paying for it.
Exactly. I saw one of your posts on that, and I thought that was pretty brilliant.
So I try to do the right thing. I mean, I might be an a-hole, but I try to actually teach people stuff. Like, my channel is mostly full of tutorials on different things, whether it's video games or whatever. I try to actually get information correct and disseminate it to an understandable, dissectable
way. Right. Yeah.
I like the fact that you have the guts to call people out, and that's great. And my advice is just if you can actually just change some of your wordings, you're going to be even better at it.
Yeah, the terminology, because it can
sometimes you'll say out of nowhere. Okay, like for your interviews, like you can be talking to someone all calm and teaching them stuff, and all of a sudden out of nowhere you start calling them, like, you just kind of make fun of them, and at that moment when you do that, it just kind of changes the whole dynamic.
I know, but it's like I feel like a lost cause, because I can't spend my whole life talking to everybody. It's like I feel that if you guys are really interested and you're inquisitive and you want to learn stuff, the internet has everything. How do you think I even learned? I went to the internet, I downloaded books, I watched debates back and forth, I listened to hours and hours of audio debates with different, religious and non-religious people. I went everywhere. The internet is the Library of Alexandria at our fingertips times 10.
The dark web, you mean? The dark web.
Well, I've been to the dark web. It's nothing, it's nothing. I actually, unlike TIs, I'm different than TIs. I don't disparage hackers for a lot of reasons. Do you guys disparage hackers? Do you think hackers are bad people? No,
I think they've got a lot of skills. I wish I had those
cool, actually, be able to hack. Yeah.
Well, I mean, some hackers are doing it to be, destructive and, break the law. But other hackers, a lot of the hackers, the ones I've talked to, the ones I've watched, the ones I've read about, they want to make things more free on the internet. They want to give you tools. Right. Yeah, they want to give you tools to be encrypted, protect yourself. Edward Snowden, those guys. You got other ones that are getting those old arcade games from the 70s and 80s, Pac-Man, Mario Kart, all those old arcade games, and making them available on the computer that you could just play perfectly for free. That's awesome.
But I've got a question for you.
Yeah.
Not diverting from your shows, Seven, just a point to make about the internet. Just say, the world the way it is at the moment, and the Internet of Things get plugged and pulled for the ultimate reset, and then the global financial crash, which is edible, is any time can happen, and the potential plan for that is happening. And then obviously the financial reset will be that digital identification. So it will require your biometrics, that's what I talk about, advanced technology, what I research in, the bio data to log into the Internet of Things, and everything will be trackable. Do you have a problem with that?
I don't have any evidence that it's going that route.
Hey, Nerv, can you answer answer
about the
developers'
patterns.
question?
Okay, so why am I spending all? I wouldn't say I'm spending all. I'm spending actually a little bit. I do a lot of things. I have a girlfriend. I have a life. I'm employed full time. I have a lot of hobbies and interests. I don't spend a whole bunch of my time on TIs. But it seems like a lot just because it's basically all I've been kind of focused on my YouTube channel lately. I mean, YouTube is not the only thing. I know a lot of TIs only go to YouTube and they only go to the popular websites.
No, they don't. No, I've got to interrupt there. They don't. They
really?
don't. My God.
Oh, all right. What underground website do you go to?
I don't. I journal. I'm used to be in PR, media, TV, radio. So I use alternative sources offline.
Okay, well that's good. But almost every TI I talk, I'm not saying everybody, but almost every, they're like, hey, come to my stream and talk to me. And I'm like, why do I need to go to your stream to talk to you? Why don't we use Skype or Mumble or TeamSpeak or Discord or Ventrilo or Battlecom or some VoIP client over here? And then if you want to stream it, go ahead. But they all want to go to YouTube.
It's not the best platform at all.
It's one of the worst. You can't even call somebody a butt munch in text anymore. It's really egregious. Like I want people to be able to say, I want people to be able to call me an asshole, and you can only do that in voice right now. And as much as I like voice.
Yeah. The corporations are Googling to my channels down, and I was just explaining about the DNA. I won't go into it here because.
But I don't think I gave that guy a full answer. So let me, or developer. Okay. I mean, I didn't know. I didn't read the name. Developer. So a lot of it, I'll tell you why. Now, I consider the internet a big part of my life because again, I've been in since 1995, and I've spent a lot of hours building my own computers from scratch. You know, getting my problems fixed, even when I only had one computer and I had no backup. So if I made one mistake and blew my computer up, I was screwed. So I had to be very careful on exactly learning, exactly what I'm doing. So I spent a lot of time burning CDs, getting, upgrades, all this kind of crap, so much time and effort. In fact, I got pictures from my first digital camera. It's almost always about computer and internet related stuff. I made a lot of friends here. I've talked to celebrities on the internet. I have a phone call of me calling Gabe Newell of Steam, Valve Software, that guy. I called him on the phone one night. I got the recording. So the internet has been a big part of my life. It's a good way to talk to other people who might not agree with you. It's a good way to learn, and I've always used it for that. Now I came across gangstalking, which I hadn't heard of until 2 or 3 months ago. And I see a bunch of people saying that they're hacked, their phone's hacked, everybody's closing in on them. They're making these claims, these really wild assertions about the internet that just aren't true. They're saying they're trying to stop you doing this, and they're trying to shut you down. And I'm thinking the whole time, you're on one stupid website that has more rules than any FCC charter I've ever seen. Why did you go to a different website? And nobody is telling them this. They're just spewing it from their podium. And they're just talking like they know all the answers and they got it all figured out. And the thing is that they don't know what they're talking about. And that really pisses me off.
It's not just about a website. It's not just about like one platform. I get the hacking without using the internet, without using my phone.
You're not hacked. I can tell you right now, you're not hacked. Nobody's hacked. Almost nobody's hacked. Computers and the internet.
So your experience, which is appreciated, it's very impressive to know.
Thank you.
Especially a long time you've been on the internet. So you tell me then when I have, I'm not expert in computers like you. Building your own is very talented, by the way. I wish I knew how to do that. But so if I get denied services for my paid for internet service right into the line into my home, and I get the echoing, constant buzzing noises on my phone lines on into the main internet of things, since I turn on the computer and then start using the internet or a mobile phone, even an analog, 3G sort of thing.
Well, I'd have to see your setup. I'd have to see your setup and that kind of thing. The easiest way I'm able to look at that kind of stuff, and I've done this before for other people, but they've shared their screen with me. Right. I don't have control of it, but I can see their screen and I can tell them where to go, what to do. But when I actually look at a lot of their settings, most people don't have the right settings. They don't have the right software. They don't have the right, add-ons for their browsers. A lot of people just have a lot of things that are set up totally wrong. For example, you have a Wi-Fi router, I assume, right? Is that what you were kind of talking about?
Yeah.
So, do you?
And I use a landline, the Earth lead as well.
A landline. So you have. I'm assuming you obviously have broadband, right? By now, do you know if it's
Yeah,
DSL or cable?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Have you
Broadband.
ever done a speed test or a buffer bloat test?
Yes. Yeah.
How about
I have
a
high
buffer
speed.
bloat test is actually, to me, more important than a speed test because it tests the consistency and reliability of your connection. That's what buffer bloat is. And you could do that stuff right on like websites like DSL Reports. I don't think you could do it on speedtest.net, but you could do it on sites like dslreports.com. When you find out that you could replace cables, possibly, you could probably make some configuration changes in your router. You can enable QoS. Means quality of service. It goes really deep. I won't get all technical here, but like we could talk aside, sometime, and I can go through some things with you. I mean, I've done this for people before, but it's always a software or hardware configuration issue, or sometimes it's like a cable, it's out of whack. But it's always fixable.
Yeah. Well, thank you. The hardware, for my opinion, when I've had a home invasion, and I don't even know the terminology what that means to target individuals.
Phone invasion?
Yeah, break and entry, which is unlawful.
Okay. Well, that's pretty weird because they'd have to get.
It is very serious.
Are you talking about phone invasion?
Are you talking about when
I was set up? Are you talking about when you're talking to someone?
I use wheelchair.
Those were on the old wireless phones. Those weren't. If you're talking about landline and you have the 9 gigahertz or whatever phones, just the cordless phones, and not like Wi-Fi connections. Well, that's pretty standard.
I've gone back to old fashioned. I've gone back to wired connection in my landline.
Okay. I love those because when you slam the phone down to hang up on somebody, it goes ching.
All right, guys. I'm talking about the phone invasion. You're talking about phone invasion. What are you talking about when you're talking in a conversation? You can hear other people.
Well, look, let me give her a peace of mind. No, I can't. I'm not a telephone operator. Obviously, I can't. I'm not gonna claim that I know a lot about that.
On back to 7. Just bear with me a moment, and I'll let you carry on. The home invasions that anybody else in the chat's experience is such horrendous experience. For example, when I got robbed again, I was set up with that. It sounds far-fetched for those that may not have that experience. For me, it's traumatic. I've had $2,000 worth of belongings out. My whole bag got swiped, and this is fictitious and malicious by police informer set up where I was, and everything got stolen, my keys to my flat, and the police had to use the drugs battering ram to smash my flat door. It's still not mended. Now, on top of that, when you get the home invasions, it's like a psychological tactic where they just place things around, and it's a bit like that movie Gaslight. And if you go and watch it, you'll see what they do psychologically to mess about with the psychological mindset. I'm used to that. I ignore it. This is unlawful invasion of your right to privacy in your own home, and they do it to drive you out your own home, to make you move when you're
first of all, if they broke into your home and actually smashed your door and all this stuff, then yeah, that's a scary situation. And the only remedy that I know of is to repair it and re-bolster your defenses. Really, it's like
I repeatedly do all that.
But see, let's say you fix your door and you change your locks and whatever. Let's say you do the basic things, right? Well, if you say that even after all that, you think that they're still coming in, but you got no hard evidence of it. I mean,
I do. I have a secret cameras placed. I won't say where, and I have the evidence who's getting in.
Well, I know you live in the UK, so I don't think you could defend yourself with a handgun like I can. I own a handgun here.
We can't have
right.
hand.
Well, I would be shooting people if they were in my house as I'm sitting there. People would be shot.
Did you upload the videos?
Yeah, that you really. I mean, it can't do much unless you can get somebody to recognize somebody's face. That's the only thing you could really do. Otherwise, the only other thing is to.
I have to be careful with the images I've got. I can't post it online
Why
because
not?
it would just. I cannot do. I do it in a different platform. There's a certain ways I won't make public what I do because it's like a military position that this is really serious what they're doing. And
Well,
if
wait a
I
minute.
do
Why
that,
can't you post it online?
I would never put my information, let alone
No,
anybody
we don't need to
else's,
know.
data.
We don't need to know. You can cut things out in
If
videos.
I
You know that.
teach anyone in England how it works, I've studied law since 2012.
Yeah.
So therefore, if I post any kind of data like that online, even, and this will play in the hands of the those that are participating in this unlawful program, that would make me looking out.
No.
They can easily trace,
See
the
what I mean?
IP.
See what you're saying right now. I'm sorry, ma'am. I'm sorry. You're full of shit right now. Because you know why? There are so many. Hi. Why is she laughing? Why is she laughing? Listen. Do you know what? I'm giving you the answer because there's this thing called Tor Project. Because there's this thing called Tor Project where you can upload anything you want to the internet anonymously.
No.
Yes.
People have different reasons.
How do you think the source code for? See, she doesn't want to listen. She has all the answers herself, so she doesn't. See, this is the kind of crap that pisses me off. You sit there and say that you can't do something, and I'm telling you as an internet user since the 90s that yes you can. Yes you can. Quit lying to people. Yes you can. Put everything.
I will not respond to somebody that shouts at me with disrespect.
Well, don't say that you can't put something online because that is.
I will not do things.
Yeah, okay. No, see, Seventh, I wouldn't waste my time with people like this. I'm giving her the answer and she's telling me I'm wrong.
I will protect myself in the due.
Don't ask for help and then deny it. I mean, I'm telling you what you can do.
I will not use language in your terminology.
Yeah, she doesn't want to know. She's just like developer. Hey, do you want the answer or not?
The lawful due respect.
See, this is the defense. The defense that TIs use. They want this. They want to believe this stuff is happening. And so when you give them answers to actually how to prove it, they don't want to do it. See, she's talking at people. These guys are. See, Seventh, you're like I don't know why you hang around with people like this.
The D-Wave technology, brain interface.
Hey, Peace,
which is
do you understand that I knew a woman in the UK? See, she doesn't even want me to talk. Can I talk now? You've been talking. You just go on and on and on, lady. You've been drinking your dinner.
I don't even drink. And
well, the way you go on and on, I mean, Jesus. Let somebody say something.
You quote the Bible. You quote
I'm not talking about the Bible. You're talking about somebody breaking into your home and then you move on to the Bible.
You just mentioned it a moment ago. Now, the normal break and entry.
Hi, lady. Hi, can you hear me?
Come in.
Yeah, that's a good point, Seven.
They place items in
How can you talk to somebody like she's talking at me right now? She's talking at me.
Yeah.
She asked me a question and then denies my freaking answer.
Anybody when they are.
Oh God! Can you mute her for a second so I can say something about the UK?
Well, I'm just letting you.
Okay, so the UK. There was a woman that comes to my stream. There's a woman that comes to my stream. Can I just talk to the audience now instead of you, lady? Oh Jesus! I guess I have to make another YouTube video.
I'm sorry, I have to mute both of you. Let's go one at a time, okay? I'll let Nerve talk first, and then Peace, Love, you can talk. I'm gonna mute both of you, but I hope you guys can actually just one at a time.
Thank you. I don't respond to abuse. I just keep calm. I keep concise. I keep the facts, and that's all I do.
All right, so can I talk now?
I respond to
Seventh. You just said I could talk. I mean, she's going on and more.
Yeah.
Thank you, Seven.
Let's let Nerve talk real quick, and then you can.
All right.
Add in your information.
Thank you. So there's this woman. I forgot her name. She comes to my stream. She's from the UK as well. And she was trying to get to a website because I told her to go here to download something. And she couldn't get there. She said it was blocked. I said, what? So I looked it up and we both looked it up. And it turns out that the UK blocks a lot of websites. I don't know if you know this. You guys block the Pirate Bay. You block 1337.to, which is a BitTorrent site. And you guys block a lot of stuff legally. And that's fine. So you know what I did? I had her log into her router and change her DNS servers to 8.8.8.8. And of course, the secondary one is 8.8.4.4. She went to the 1337X, boom, she was in. That's all you got to do is change your DNS. Now, that doesn't make her anonymous, but that allows her to bypass her country's filters. It's a normal thing. It's a well-known thing on the internet. But a lot of people don't research things, so they don't know stuff like that's a really basic thing. But to answer your question about getting stuff on the internet anonymously where it cannot be tracked back to you, there are many methods you could use. You could take a USB stick, go to the library, pop that sucker in, and upload it to the internet. And nobody can trace it back to you except that it's your house. But you can do some video editing and cut out just the guy's face who's apparently breaking into your house all the time, right? You cut out his face in Adobe Premiere or some kind of video editing program, cut his face out so nobody can tell that it's your house and it's you personally. Boom, put that sucker online from a library. They can't trace you. If you don't want to go to the library and you don't trust it, use Tor browser right from your computer right now. People in China use the Tor browser to get around their country's censorship. You cannot be tracked. I'm not saying you cannot absolutely, but you're virtually invisible with Tor Project, which is why so many people use it for illegal activities. I'm not telling you to use it for illegal activities, but that's a way around any kind of trace back to you. There's so many options. That's just two. There's so many options. So please don't sit here and say that you can't legally upload a video. That is such hogwash. When people say that, it just makes the veins in my forehead congeal. All right, go ahead.
I could easily go to a public library where they have cameras everywhere.
That's why I said Tor.
You have to log in. You have in England, especially in my area,
all right,
and
fine.
you have to be. Yeah, this is why I haven't done it that way, and because I've been looking at all avenues, I tell you, I bloody well would. And therefore also the surveillance within when you're using their library computers, IPs are trackable, and yes, you can use the Tor browser, but still, unfortunately, in England, like Edward Snowden's already got out, you're always going to have that location where your physical, your computers, I'm not expert, so don't get me wrong on that one, will be still trackable.
Nope.
When they're hacking into your main line from the BT company line, you are paid to twist your wires. And when I got a video of that guy in the car park doing it 2 months ago, I was like, I got you, mate. I know how you're doing it now. And it's what I just couldn't believe what I was looking at. And but I didn't let on. I just kept a diary, kept a log. And that's what I do. So the important things, it's not that funny when you're asleep and you've got your door tampered with, and what the hell is that about? But I know there's another police informer right opposite me in the flat opposite. They've got the extra equipment they've got. And I've got the video evidence and photos discreetly to show that my electricity meter compared to his is completely opposite. He's got extra equipment into his flat 24 hours a day for what? Why survey me? I'm just me. And yet, when you're in the military program or this targeted worldwide program, they will spend no end of their black budget projects on an individual, and like you said earlier, for research development processes, and then for the advancement of their technology programs. It sounds far-fetched when somebody says so many different things to you, Ms. Hopperly, and you quote documents, but when you see it's hereditary, the programs, the MK Ultra, go back into the 1970s. It never stopped. When the Nazis come over to America and experimented in innocent individuals, and then you got the another program. It doesn't stop because the IPs I've got blocking coming into my network, which I can some of it block. And I've got the corporation's details, and I compare it with other people I'm aware of, and who, like you say, is extremely computer literate, like in other areas similar to yourself from Israel. He did a remote access to my computer for me, going back last year now. And I couldn't believe where these companies came from all over the world.
Well, Peace Love,
just to access my internet.
I gotta stop you. Real quick. Now,
Okay.
let's focus at the problem at hand. The problem at hand is you have footage of someone coming into your home. Like, why can't you take that to the police? And if someone's messing with your door, you can change the lock. Or have you ever considered
Do you know how the police work?
to new?
Do you know the police are the problem? The public servants are the problem. They're part of this, especially in my location.
That's hogwash.
They are the ones that set you up. I've got so much.
The higher police or the next agency.
I've got so much documents. I've got these the dates, the years.
So what do you want to happen then?
What I'd like to happen is to have these. It's not saying everybody like that is involved, but the core ones are doing this for vengeance, for reason. They need to be held accountable. There's so many individuals. I was on a stream earlier, a Zoom meeting with other people in England, and they're going through so much similar. And they are trying to look for remedy. We are trying to hold.
So wait, watch this. So in America, we sue a lot all the time, and a lot of people call us a litigious.
Oh, I've tried that.
So you can't sue people.
I have taken on personally to commercial liens. Do you know what commercial lien is?
No.
Okay, that is a personal. You take on the actual man or individual woman who has the purse strings control the corporation. I have done so many commercial liens, over 10 million, £1 million in each individual company responsible. I'm in the middle doing another commercial lien for setting me up with when they can't get you on this physical scenarios to make you move. They will set you up with a mental health fraud, which is a false assumption about your psychological makeup, mindset.
Well, that's fine to question that. I question it.
Well, this is all you need to do, the research where the pharmaceutical companies.
Well, have you won any of the lawsuits?
Excuse me, it's different. When you use a commercial lien, the actual law is tort law. It is actually trust and equity law. And you might not know that, but it's completely different to statute.
Well, that's
law.
still different than hacking. That's litigation stuff. We were talking about internet computers hacking and all that stuff, this gang stalking stuff, which I have no evidence of at all.
Well, each to their own, but you're just out there doing what you got to do, and each to their own.
Well, I try to want to know what's happening on my planet. I mean, I admit when things happen. It's like, I try to have dash cam going all the time in my car. It's like I see, people recording from their cars with their cell phones, and they can't just get a dash cam, which is way better because you can record forward and backwards, and without even having to look or pay attention to anything. So it's like there's so many options out there. But
You've got Havana syndrome. You heard of that?
Yeah, I was actually reading a paper on it today, and it turns out to be pretty bullcrap.
Really? When they've
from what I've read so far,
one conversation.
Well, okay. One of the things they said in that paper, which was pretty funny actually, is that they were scaring the employees at that building, and what they were doing, they were using a cricket sound, and they actually thought from the cricket sound that attacks were coming.
No, they weren't. No, they weren't.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, they were. I can cite my sources. I'm going to cite them right now. See, unlike you, I can cite sources.
Government.
I'm citing sources.
Compensation and evidence. They've won their case. It's all over the internet.
Okay, so I'm citing my sources right now.
All right, guys, I'm going to have another 5 to 10 minutes, and I'm going to end this live stream.
Okay.
Jamaican.
I want to talk about the cricket sound.
Yeah,
the cricket sound. It's see what the problem there is. The TI's paying attention to the cricket sound. See, for me, I wouldn't even care about the cricket sound.
I know. Can you see that image I just posted in the private chat? That's directly from the paper.
But the problem here is the TI. It's not his or her fault for focusing on it, because he or she doesn't understand something else is working behind the scene, which is something I've always talked about, is the lower voice to skull. Because to break out of it, they just have to train themselves to pay their attention on something more important in their life, that can benefit their life. But instead, a lot of TIs are through training, through like manipulation of their thoughts, all these years, they are now automatically focused on these random sounds. And once they focus on it, they don't know how to break out of those thought patterns. Kind of like there's this thing called negative automatic thoughts, NAT, N-A-T. And it's just saying these random negative thoughts just comes into a person's mind. And some people complain about how they can't break out of these negative thoughts. But yes, they can break out of it. It just takes training and it takes practice. It takes time, but they can start to reverse that negative thoughts and start blocking those negative thoughts and become more positive. And that's what a lot of TIs out there haven't even started that yet. They just receive these negative thoughts, like the cricket sound. And then the next thought that comes in is, oh, that's gang stalkers probably putting some type of cameras or some type of spying equipment inside your place here. And the TI will fall for those thoughts. And the TI will start thinking more and more into those thoughts. The next thing you know, they spend like a whole hour thinking about it. And over time, that's a lot of hours spending on these negative thoughts. And it can change a person.
I can imagine that. Oh, well, I'm not saying that this is absolute truth, but this is some of the data I looked at regarding Havana, which people have brought up to me before. So, of course, I'm going to look a little into it at least. And this is from that Royal Society of Medicine from 2016. It talks about what they were kind of like tricked. Several of these recordings were later identified as the mating calls of the Indies short-tailed cricket. They were like flipping out about crickets. They were primed for attacks because they were played recordings of sounds captured by employees. So it's like, when you start digging and you start trying to find a lot of this stuff, instead of just looking at the surface level like a lot of people do, some people just read headlines and then that's it. They make up their minds. But me, I try to dig a little deeper. What's the source? That's why I've been starting to download these papers, because a lot of it is the source for these news articles we see. And I start to see some pretty funny stuff like this. It makes me laugh. I mean, I'm not laughing at humans making mistakes like this and flipping out, but I'm just saying, like, when you dig down, you find misapprehensions of natural events, you find outright frauds, you find lies, just all sorts of bullcrap. It's been going on throughout history. Humans are really good at making things up.
And I don't want to disagree with anything you're saying there. And I just want to say that with the gang stalking and the TIs, a lot of TIs don't know what's really happening. And to figure things out, it requires life experience. Like for me, just from my experience, a lot of things I figured out and connected the dots is based off of what happened to me in the past. And we all have different experience in life. And because of my personal experience, that's what led me to know what I know.
Yeah.
And I think I definitely need to have that interview with you, Nerv, and just talk about things. It'll be really clear things up.
I got really lucky to even see that you were streaming. I just happened to just check your channel and you were streaming. So that's why I like outside of this stuff. So like if you're with me on Discord all the time and I'm there too, you can just send me a message. Hey, I'm ready. And boom, I don't have to sit there and refresh your YouTube channel waiting for you. It's just like.
Well, the reason I'm doing this live stream tonight is for Golden Bear, because.
Oh, okay. Well, sorry, I didn't mean to take over anything. Is he there? Golden Bear, are you there?
Well, I think I'm gonna end the live stream, and I hope you can not. I know you tend to like to make videos of other TIs. Just try to.
Yeah, I know.
Don't go anything further with this with the people involved tonight. Just kind of.
Hi, there he is.
Just kind of leave it alone. Overall, it was still just a conversation. People get heated over topics. It happens, but.
Right. Well, I see. Yeah, I kind of know a little bit of the history of, humans. We make a lot of mistakes. I mean, we hallucinate a lot. Hallucinations are common. And I'm saying that you have to take that into consideration, especially when you want to believe in things. You have to reach for extra reserves of skepticism. Like if you just lost a family member, for example, I'll just go real quick. You just lost a family member and you're grieving and you're sad. And here comes this psychic that says, hey, if you give me some money, I can get in contact with your dead relative right now. And people are giving their money away for crap like that all the time to feel better. They never really, gain anything from this. They actually feel pretty robbed afterwards. And I don't like to see that crap. But after all these years, psychics still make a living. And I think that's, I mean, it's capitalism, but it's still, to me, bad to mislead people, to lie to them, to be a charlatan, huckster, take their money. I think that's really terrible, but it exists all over this planet. If you walk into CVS and Walgreens right now, you can buy homeopathic medicine. Homeopathy is fake medicine. It's a placebo, but they sell it on the shelf as real medicine, and you wouldn't know the difference. And people are being hoodwinked all the time, and I hate that shit. People don't educate themselves. Like I said, it doesn't drop on your lap. And it's not the most interesting shit. It is to me, but not to a lot of people. They want to see explosions, they want to watch movies, they've got kids, whatever. They don't have time to research all this crap. But I know how much bull crap is out there, and I'm a pretty good baloney detector. And so, like, I know how to not get hoodwinked, and I feel bad for all the people who put so much emotion into our feelings, and it causes them to do these actions, such as open up their wallet to charlatans, or believe some hallucination that they heard their mother's voice in their head and that there must be ghosts, things like that.
Well, here's the thing with the psychic. A good psychic will never charge money, okay? So, because any psychic that charges money, it's don't take their word for it. I mean, it's just how I feel about psychics. And yeah, I agree with you about if they try to ask for money, they're most likely scamming people, telling people what they want to hear. And back to hearing voices and stuff. So this entire live stream, you are able to differentiate, who's who based on their voices, right? Correct?
Yeah.
Like we all can.
Yeah.
So now for the TIs, okay, I just want to explain. TIs getting voice to skull. Basically, it's just like what we did tonight in the live stream, but there's no people there. So for the TI can identify voices is not his or her own voice, but then they're receiving it. And that's what's really trippy about this whole thing. And throughout years of receiving it, if the TI haven't figured out what it is or try to solve, or at least try to get better at overcoming this, they're gonna be consumed by it. They're gonna be in fear and they're gonna lose themselves.
I see what you're saying.
And that's eventually will lead to schizophrenia. That's what it is.
Right. Well, so wait, if you're hearing these sounds and these voices and I got closer to you, will I hear them?
I don't know. I would say no.
Has anybody ever said they can hear them too when they're close to you?
No, that's because they're not receiving it.
Okay. So they must be being transmitted, supposedly. If you really wanted to find the origin of them, if you're really curious, this guy's mic is really loud. Maybe you should pipe him down for a sec. Jeez. Some technology, man. See, it's not perfect. So if you really wanted to find the origin of these sounds, you could. Because the way that audio travels through air can be explained with the electromagnetic spectrum. There's no other way. It's the electromagnetic spectrum or bust. There's no other way. So if it's not a detectable frequency, the only other explanation is that it's being generated in your brain. And so if you have to admit that it's being generated in your brain, can you say it's actually real or you're hallucinating it?
Oh, they're very real. They're very real. Like just like if I close my eyes right now, I can hear you talking. So I know you're there. But you're not really physically here, but I can tell your voice, right?
Yeah.
And that's what V2K is. If I'm sitting here by myself, all of a sudden I hear your voice. I'm not doing a live stream.
You should probably mute that guy. He's really loud. It's overbearing you.
Basically, the point here is I'm trying to explain what V2K is like for TIs.
Yeah.
And it's just like any conversation, but except there's no one next to them, but the TI can tell the difference between his or her own voice and somebody else's voice.
Well, how is that different from schizophrenia then? Because that's exactly what schizophrenia's experience: voices and pictures and animated objects in front of them that aren't there.
See, but the people with the schizo are the people that can't handle the situation throughout many years of this happening to them.
Okay, but it's not zeros and ones though. It's not your normal and then your schizo. Don't you agree it's a gradual process and it could be
exactly.
Yeah. So maybe you're on the lower end of schizophrenia where it's just starting.
That It's not, well, if I lose myself, see, if I become afraid of it, I don't go to work, I lose myself, then yeah, I would become schizo. I agree.
I don't know. I don't know enough about it, but I would think personally that I don't think you could fight your way out of being schizo. I mean, I don't, this is just a guess, but can you really fight your way? You can fight your way from becoming fat by exercising, right? You know that. You're a smart guy. But can you actually fight your way out of being a schizo just if you think hard enough? I don't think so. I think it's almost, once you have it, I think it's inevitable. I could be wrong, but I know that medication seems to suppress a lot of it.
Here's the thing. The point here is not trying to get rid of schizo. Schizo, you only be labeled as schizo if you can't handle the situation, and maybe you screamed out in public, police were called, you were taken into some mental place, and then you're hearing voices inside the mental place, you start screaming at the doctors, and the doctors start writing the report, and that's how you get labeled schizo. Like a person that can't handle themselves. But for a person that's receiving voices call and they can actually handle themselves, they wouldn't get into those situations, and they won't be labeled as schizo. Does that make sense?
But I still don't understand, because we kind of understand the limits of the body. The body cannot do telekinesis, telepathy, nothing like that. There's no evidence at all that we can send messages to each other without opening our mouths. We have to open our mouths to communicate. That's just the way it is. Yes. And you can't tell me that we invented, or we suddenly found in the 21st century, a new way of communication.
I never support the idea that it is the government. So to me, that I agree.
Well, either way, even if it isn't the government, but you're still suggesting that there's some other voice coming from some direction, and it's another form of communication. You're implying that there's some other new form of communication that nobody's ever been able to figure out yet.
Exactly.
And that's just not, and that's not happening.
That is
it's a violation of the laws of physics.
I don't know if you can really go to that point.
I told you, electromagnetic spectrum.
But
that's how we communicate.
I don't know anything about law of physics, but I also can say comfortably say we don't. Even the brightest physicists don't know all about law.
I know, but let me point it out like this. So you can see, right? Your eyes work. You can see when you. Okay, that's called visible light. That is the electromagnetic spectrum. When you go down a little bit, just change the frequency a little bit, you got radio. We can't see radio. It's in the air. It's real. You adjust your radio knob in your car and you hear a different station. But that's the same thing as your visible light, but just a different tune. Just tuned down a little bit. It's the same. Yes, it's the same thing.
Voice to skull. You see?
No, but where is that? Is that higher than gamma rays? Is it lower than gamma rays? Where on the spectrum? Because nobody's been able to identify it. What you're saying right now, it's not on the spectrum.
And that's why more money needs to be involved. More science.
It's generated in the brain.
It's generated in research and development.
Fine, but I'm telling you, it's generated in the brain because we've been doing this for a long time. We understand the electromagnetic spectrum and how it works. That's why we got infrared. Our eyes can't see infrared. We can't see ultraviolet, but bees can see ultraviolet. The way they look at flowers is completely different than us. They can see patterns on flowers that we can't see because it's in a different spectrum in the electromagnetic spectrum. It's different. We are very limited. We're basically blind if you really want to get down to it. That's what radio is. There's all different frequencies and shit. That's fine. But we've established them already. We've established them. We know what it is. It's like a chart. There's a chart. You can look it up. EMS, electromagnetic spectrum. You can see our radio waves, gamma rays, infrared, all that stuff is there. It's charted. It's right there in front of you. You can go download all the documents you want. There's no information anywhere on there talking about some new frequency that only TIs can have, or people with voice to skull, whatever. There's no frequency. It's not ever been established. It's not been proven. The explanation is that it's generated from within. The brain is the most complex object that we've ever found in the entire universe. Our brains have 100 billion neurons in them. They're capable of insanity.
Well, here's the thing. See, it's difficult to have information if the person's not experiencing it. But then at the same time, you can't call everyone experiencing it schizo because...
Hey, Momus just said it's a weapon. Can you cite your sources on that? You can't just say it's a weapon like that, man. Like that's you got to be careful about just making what... Because here's the thing. Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. And if you've got no evidence for your claim of it being a weapon, then you don't say it.
And that's what's the problem is with a lot of the TI community is a lot of people, they tend to just go off the walls on a lot of different things. And, if I try to stay on just one path, And I agree with you when you try to make, your claims about how most TIs are kind of crazy, lunatics. And those are the TIs. I hope they will actually eventually find their way back. But those are the TIs that are more closer towards being labeled as schizo because they, for whatever reason, their life experience, it just led to this point where they just can't seem to do the process of elimination or try to use critical thinking and try to, eliminate some of these impossibilities, such as spending so much money on people following them, to me, that just don't make sense whatsoever. And after 4 years of that, if the TIs still haven't figured that out, then they are in danger because now their mind is like solidified with this idea and they're kind of stuck in there. And the only way to really get out of it is by something dramatic happening where they have to experience it in real time to kind of connect the dot in their head to finally realize, okay, now I believe no one can be following me because it's just not possible.
Well, I'm not trying to discredit you guys or disparage you guys when I say this, but I have to tell you that me personally, I'm pretty impressed with technology such as noise canceling. They got noise canceling headphones that when you put them on, you can make it even quieter by enabling noise cancellation. Even quieter than them covering your entire ears just by turning on noise cancellation. It's a technology.
Well, here's the thing. I agree with you. Okay, when you say generating the brain, because I actually got some Bose headphones, I don't know exactly what model, but I got them at Costco. They were like $380. Really good headphones. Like I tried many things. I tried plugging my ears, put a headphone on, or have a regular earpiece in and then headphones on, or turning up some really loud speakers. Like I've done all of that. Mm-hmm. It's I still can hear these voice to skull. And what if I'm in those situations, the voice to skull become more quiet. So back to what you're saying about it's generated in the brain. It's almost like it's coming within the inside of my ear, like deep in there, almost like next to my eardrum or something.
Right.
Because I can hear it still with all the loud sound outside around me.
Yeah.
So
somebody said before, and I don't have any experience of this at all. I mean, I believe that you're experiencing this, but what I heard somebody else say, and it was some guy who talked to Absent Minded Abe. I forgot his name. He said that he was put on medication that made those voices go away. And I thought that's pretty good.
I mean, if that's I have to look further into it. I don't know much about it.
I don't either.
But with those voices, see, a lot of TIs are in fear because, of course, who wouldn't be in fear, right? Hearing these random voices.
Yeah.
But after many, many years of this happening, if the TIs still are in fear, then, yeah, maybe those medication, if it helps, then go ahead.
Look, I understand being in fear of the brain, but one thing you got to realize is that we're humans. We're not perfect. Some people are born. If you go to a children's hospital, there are kids born with hearts on the outsides of their chests. They got livers that don't work, organs that don't fucking function. You feel bad for these kids, right? Well, who's to say that the human brain can't make a mistake and come out? Maybe you got a Walmart brain. You got a bad fucking bunk brain. It's not your fault. When your body was being put together in your mother's womb, like the stupid frickin' enzymes fucked up. It's not out of the question. So these TIs seem to all think they have perfect brains. They're not willing to say, you know what? I probably got a pretty bunk brain, and the only solution is fucking medication. What else can you do? You can't drill into your freaking skull and start working on it yourself. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, you don't want to go crazy about it. You just have to kind of accept you were dealt a bad hand. It's maybe not the best hand ever. It's not the worst hand. At least your heart's not on the outside of your damn chest. But your brain mostly functions. It's not perfect. A little bit of medication will snap it into shape. It's a chemical imbalance. To me, that's what it sounds like to me. I would trust your doctors. The life expectancy in the United States in the turn of the 20th century was only 50 years old. Life expectancy now in the United States, 80, 85, and even higher. That's all not because our diet changed or anything. We've had a pretty similar diet these last 100, 200 years. The thing that changes is our knowledge of science and medicine. And it's the thing that without life expectancy, how can you be happy when you're dead? So
yeah, I'm not disagreeing with you on those things, but here, the main focus here is we're talking about voice to skull, and that's something that's really happening. You see, and I also understand it's hard for me to convince anybody that's not going through voice to skull, But voice to skull is happening, and voice to skull is the main reason. Okay, the lower voice to skull is the main reason that's causing these TIs to be freaking out all the time, because it makes them focus on these negative thoughts. So when they go out into public, they would see someone out on the parking lot across from his car. Like that TI can think about anything he wants, right? He can think about anything he wants. But for some reason, he's thinking that that person is a gang stalker, right? And that is because there's another force, something else is causing this to happen. And
well, that's your theory of what's happening. It doesn't necessarily fact.
I experienced it. I experienced it myself. That's what
I know, but there are some people that claim they heard the voice of God that goes and tells them to kill people. It's like,
I agree with you.
So see, you got to be careful with that stuff.
I've mentioned in my video that do not ever trust.
Listen, Mo, I'm not saying it's not happening to you. What I'm saying is that, are they generated from within, from a mistake in the human brain, the most complex object in the entire universe that we've ever found? Or do you think this stuff is actually happening, which is violating the laws of physics, and some voice is using some method of communication that nobody can detect, you can't explain, nobody can actually detect with whatever sensors we've invented? And our sensors are pretty goddamn good now. We have radio astronomy, dude. And you're telling me that these mysterious things going to your brain can't be picked up? It's been established already. For centuries now, we've understood communication, radio technology. I think we found radio in the 1700s or something like that. We discovered it so long ago. It's not brand new to us. But what you guys are saying is something that just violates everything we know. And I think you guys should really pick up some actual books. There's a BBC documentary on how we invented electricity. It's a three-part series, which goes into how we even figured out electricity. It's amazing what we've done as humans, but realize that the work has been done.
I agree with you by those, what you're saying, but it's not the same.
See, this guy is insisting it's other people. It's not him. His brain is perfect. It never makes mistakes.
I never said it was perfect.
That's what Mo is saying.
Experience.
I know, but that's what
experience.
I know.
But discrediting my experience when you are not living in the experience. You see what I'm saying?
Understand that, but I've seen other people's experience. Remember with
I'm talking about other people. I'm talking about my experience.
I know, but people were abducted. You believe somebody was abducted by aliens?
I do not know. I wasn't there.
Okay, well, if you put a video camera on them, their body never moves. They're in the bed the whole time.
Well, I didn't see those videos, and that's the point. I just want to talk about what I know.
Okay, that's fine. I've offered a book to you guys. I've been offering The Demon Haunted World, Science is a Candle in the Dark. It has chapters about hallucinations, about the obsessed with reality, the fine art of baloney detection. It talks about UFOs, aliens, spoofing. It has all that information. And a lot of it is bullcrap. And it teaches you how we were bamboozled and how we got it wrong so many times. But
here's the thing, though. If you throw all those stories into a giant pot, you can't just say all these are crazy, because something is there. Something is, something's got to be there. You can't say they're all crazy. It just doesn't make any sense to say they're all crazy, right?
Really?
It's hard for the person that's trying to do this research or try to writing a book about it, based off of what they know through interviews and data. It's still not the same as actually living in the experience and being there and experiencing it.
Okay. And, well.
Let me ask you. Okay, with science, I mean, they make new discovery here and there, to disprove the previous, whatever they agreed on. I mean, science, they change all the time. Okay?
That's a good thing. Yeah, we learn.
It is a good thing, and that's why I can tell you right now, there's just not enough manpower put into this researching what's going on. Because one thing about it is science also don't see spirituality as taboo. It's like an automatic thing in their mind that triggers something that makes them just not want to be excited about.
You know who James Randi is? I'll go real quick. James Randi. He's been offering $1 million to anybody who can prove the existence of the paranormal, dowsing rods, some spiritual communication, a telephone to the dead, whatever. If you can prove any of it, you'll get his $1 million. Nobody has been able to pass his preliminary tests for a reason, because it's bullcrap.
I researched a little bit into it. I don't know the full story, but just from a little bit I read into it, it said he didn't just let anybody participate in it. Like, he was only allowing people with
because he's a magician and he knows amateurs from the professionals, and the only one professional ever took his challenge, and that was Sylvia Brown. Remember her, the psychic? She was on the Montel Williams show a lot. Sylvia Brown.
Making a lot of wrong predictions, huh?
Well, no, she said she would take his challenge, and then you know what she said later on? Oh, I couldn't get a hold of him. I couldn't find his phone number. She's a psychic, and she couldn't find a guy's phone number. Nope. She knew she made it. She made it. She said she would take his challenge publicly on the Larry King live show, and she backed down because she knew she would be exposed for the bullcrap artist she was. These guys are all phony, baloney, bullcrap artists, man. He's a magician. He knows that crap. Nobody can pass the test. One guy claimed that he didn't have to eat food at all. That's what somebody came to take his challenge. Said he didn't have to ever eat. He was caught sneaking out in the middle of the night to go to Burger King. Lying sacks of crap, every one of them. They're all fucking scum, man.
And that's the problem. Is there are going to be people like that out there, and it's people like that out there that just brings a bad name to the.
Okay. Well, instead of diagnosing yourself, guys, can you go to the doctor? And I mean, because these guys, they're learned people. They're knowledgeable. They actually they're on the cutting edge of this stuff, man. I mean, don't you understand? We have what's that, cochlear implants now? People who are born deaf can hear now. Don't you understand how amazing that is?
You have to understand something though. Like, yes, I agree. People should go to doctors if they're sick, but it's hard to put yourself into the shoe of a TI because the TI is actually experiencing it, and they know what they're experiencing. It's real. It's true.
Okay, but let me put it this way.
It's hard for them to just go to the doctor and tell the doctor because the doctor wouldn't understand. And the doctor,
they do understand. They know all about the human body and what makes mistakes it makes. If you're peeing blood, they'll understand. If you're crapping red bricks.
But this is something different, though. This is something different. This is what.
Are you ashamed of it or something? Or
who's ashamed?
Well, I mean, what's the problem with talking to a doctor? That's what they're there for.
I'm not ashamed. I mean, I make videos. I'm on the internet about it. I mean, my face is out there on the internet about it. I'm not ashamed about it.
Well, okay, but like, let me put it this way. So if you actually think, and there might still be some people who think they're abducted by aliens every second Tuesday or whatever of the month. Well, your eyewitness testimony doesn't hold water. I mean, it might in the court of law, but your eyewitness testimony doesn't matter when it comes to science. What you got to do is when you get abducted, you take the ashtray or you take like some ray gun off the shelf and you bring it back to Earth, and boom, you will be believed because you have evidence.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I agree.
TIs don't have it at all, so it can be dismissed until there's evidence. See, here, the idea is to withhold belief until there is compelling evidence. And I spent over 2 months already on this crap, and you guys have nothing. I mean, it's not, again, you're not bad people, but you guys have nothing to convince a skeptic.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with your argument right there. And
hey, developer, you put your paws on me, and you're going to pull back 2 bloody stumps. This guy needs a punching bag.
What are you talking about?
The developer's getting all indignant and, punching her chest like a chimp at the zoo.
I mean, just leave developer alone.
I know, but she wants to rip my throat out, and I'm just a skeptic. That doesn't mean I'm a bad guy. It means that I want to know the truth, but I have high standards of evidence, and I think that's a healthy thing. It's not bad.
Okay, so since you said that, then I don't expect you're not going to make no videos about her, right? Because then that's you kind of causing.
Well, I can't promise that. I mean, a video isn't so damaging, is it?
Well,
it's a stupid internet video.
You're kind of being the jerk over there if you're going to do that.
I'm sorry. I mean, I get pissed when people say I'm being hacked, even though they're not at all. You know what I mean? Like that last girl. It's like she can do stuff, but she doesn't want to do it. I offered my help. I actually offered my help to secure a TI's computer and make sure they're all good. They didn't want it. So they're pissed about it. They're making videos about it, but they don't actually want any help.
Well, just leave them alone, okay? I mean, just leave developer alone.
Okay, they want to go. Developer, got to see a man about a dog, I guess. Jeez. Well, I'm not talking about you. Developer, if you want to come at me, you can come to my stream and you can get on Skype or Mumble with me, and I'll have a nice chat with you.
See, here's the thing. I've got a question for you now. Okay, so how do the scientists come to the conclusion that the universe is so many billion years old? Like how do you do it?
Oh, are you talking about radiometric dating? There's a lot of different methods. We understand that when you look into space, we understand that you're looking back in time because light is not instant. You know that? If the sun, the one outside, can you still see it? Is it too dark? If that were to blow up right now, we wouldn't know for 8 minutes. Do you know why?
Yeah, okay, because it's too far away and it takes time for the light to get here.
Right, light travels.
Okay, so I agree with all that, but how do they definitely know though? Because for me, okay, I feel like the proper answer to that question should be, we don't know.
Well, there's this thing called isotopes, and when I'm trying to see, I'm not a scientist, but I've read a bit about this. It's been quite a while, but there's something called a half-life, and it's very steady. It's a very predictable measurement of time. It's radiometric or radiocarbon dating, where one isotope drops an electron or proton and drops down to the next electron chain or whatever the hell, and it becomes a different molecule or it becomes a different element, and it's a half-life. It's basically radiating crap off of it, and it does it at a predictable rate. They've done it. They've done studies on it several times. That's one measurement of time. There's lots of other measurements of time. But
okay, wouldn't you say there's a lot of like
when we went to the moon, for example, we put retroreflectors on the moon so we could shoot a laser at it to find out how far away the moon is from us, and we found that the moon is moving 1.5 inches away from us per year.
Okay,
and eventually it's going to launch. But if you just rewind time, the moon was once a chunk of Earth. That's one way to measure just the Earth.
But here's the thing, though. Like, I would imagine to figure out how old the universe really is, they would need a piece of material from the farthest part of space and somehow be able to have that material and actually be able to analyze it.
No. What's awesome is that we have this thing called mathematics. And I'm not saying I'm good at math, but mathematics is actually what the universe speaks. They predicted that black holes exist without even ever discovering them. They predicted that they existed before we found them. Before we actually confirmed that they really exist, all by using mathematics. It's amazing.
Okay, but I'm just talking about, how do they know for sure it's 14 billion? Because
that's a good question. See, that's an inquisitive question. There are answers out there. There are books out there.
So I would say the best answer should just be, we don't really know. But
yeah, I'm not saying we don't know, man. I mean, you can't just throw your hands up and say, people have done a lot of work, man. I actually, believe it or not, scientists have done amazing work. We found out the Earth was around 300 BC. A guy named Eratosthenes in Egypt. We found out that the Earth was round before we had any kind of complicated tool or instrument.
Well, my point here is just kind of go back to what you're saying about how, okay, to prove that you got abducted by aliens, you're going to need to pull some type of physical evidence off the ship, or maybe
more convincing than word. Yeah.
Or whatever, that blood, like DNA, something like that. So kind of go back to like, okay, so, but science it's not always 100%.
I never said it was.
So yeah, exactly. So it's like there's the yin and the yang and everything, kind of like.
Well, what I say, there are certain things that I believe to a high degree of certainty, such as the Earth being round, evolution being true, the United States having gone to the moon in 1969, the Holocaust happening. I believe them on condition that evidence could come out tomorrow to disprove them. So I'm not saying 100%. I never say I know 100%. I know a lot, the things that I know to a high degree of certainty. If there's something I don't know, I don't generally talk about it, and I don't make things up.
I know what you're saying, and that's
but things get established. Like right now, I'm talking to you. It's not some made up shit. I'm actually talking to you right now. So
I know
there are things we can't establish as humans.
And I'm not saying you're a gang stalker, but I'm just saying T.I. is going through it. I mean, I don't agree with T.I. labeling people in public as gang stalkers, because they're not. Okay, my video, I don't call them gang stalkers.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. I agree with you.
And that is the point here of not all the informations are out there, and it's a good thing that these people are doing peer review, actually, because the more they do it, the more they try to, someone's gonna have paper where they can connect dots or whatever, So it's a good thing for the TI community, and that's all I'm saying. It's like it's don't just discredit all the TIs, because not all TIs are really crazy. So a lot of TIs out there who are not even on YouTube. I'm sure there are people in very
but it's also not good for your mental health in general to only talk to people who agree with you, though. You got to be careful with that. Exactly. And a lot of TIs are looking for that support, and that's not always good for you.
Exactly. And I'm glad you came on. Okay, there's some tension a little bit here and there, but
No, that's
overall,
fine.
you've been very nice, and
thank you.
And it's good. It is good for the community to have, out of the box questions, and critiques. It's good, and that's how I see it. But I can't speak for other TIs, and I'm sure.
Well, I say I'm an introvert teetering on misanthrope. That's why I'm kind of aggressive, I guess. I generally don't like a lot of people, so I kind of stick to my own self here, and I stay away from people. But I can say at least that humans, we work pretty damn well together. We've done a lot, man. We flew to the moon, and we got freaking wireless internet everywhere we go pretty much now. I mean, we got cell phones and shit. It's like some of the technology we have is really impressive for literally chimpanzees on a planet. We're hairless apes. We're primates, and we figured this crap out. To me, I appreciate what humans have done, and I'm not anywhere near the intelligent people who delivered that and gave that to me as just a voyager in space.
Okay. Well, with that being said, thank you for joining
All right,
me.
man.
This has been way too long.
All right, yeah. Have a nice weekend, man. Take care.
I actually want to talk to you more one-on-one in the future, though.
Yeah, for sure. You got to send me your email or something so we can contact outside of limited YouTube text. What if one of us gets banned? Oh, we're screwed.
Well, I hope that won't happen. And until next time. So just have a good night.
All right, man. See ya.
All right, see ya.